Let's talk about love. Like you and me all night, and let's talk about love. I'm feeling alright, and let's talk about love. Yeah, baby, come and dance with me. You're everything I'll ever need. So let's talk about love.
Hi, this is Dillis,
Hello, this is Jacob.
and welcome to the third episode of our live chat, the Let's Talk live chat. Today, we would be talking about conflict resolution. I'm sure most of you would have heard the podcast we put out earlier in the week. And as usual, Jacob and I will start by praying, and then we'll do a brief recap of the live chat lesson, and then we will go on from there.
Bring
And
in our guest couples after that.
well, just before we do our guest couple, we would answer a few questions and then we'll bring in our guest couple. And today, guys, our guest couple is Mr. and Mrs. Ange from Maryland. And I'm sure you guys know this couple. I know them as DJ Blast and Bibi Minaj. So I can't wait to talk to them. And before we go on, Jacob, you want to lead us in a word of prayer?
Yeah, just a quick prayer to call the Spirit to come in our midst to guide our conversations. Come, Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of the faithful, and enkindle in them the fire of your love. Send forth your Spirit, and they shall be created, and thou shalt renew the face of the earth. O Lord, who by the light of the Holy Spirit did instruct the hearts of the faithful, grant that by the same Spirit we may be truly wise and ever rejoice in his consolation. Through the same Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. All right, Jacob, you take our recap for the week.
Yes, so as Dillis mentioned at the beginning, the podcast that we sent out on Monday talked about conflicts and then took us through the 10 steps of conflict resolution. So, just a quick recap: all couples have differences and disagreements. That's why we argue. And then when it goes to the next level, we quarrel. And then sometimes we might even fight. Okay, and this is obviously because we come from different backgrounds. We have different family of origin, different academic credentials. We're male, we're female, and we have those differences. So because of that, there's bound to be compromise. So in fact, studies have shown that the amount of disagreement between couples does not define the degree of happiness. It's more about how they handle those disagreements that will determine whether they are happy or unhappy. So happy couples really, as I'm pointing to, it's not that they avoid disagreements. They actually resolve their problems with respect and therefore strengthen their relationship. And they see disagreements most of the time more like opportunities for growth. And we went through these 10 steps of how successful couples resolve those disagreements. And the idea is it's for it to serve as a simple model to help us to be more effective in resolving conflicts while avoiding the common destructive patterns that you would see in couples that end up not making it. And so we're going to go through these 10 steps. If Dillis can take us to the first one.
So the first one is set a time and place to have this conversation. Um, this is an easy one. The question always is how do you set a time and place, right? Let me give you a tip. Don't say we need to talk. We need to talk sets everything the wrong way. First of all, if you are a woman and you call the guy and say we need to talk, he's not going to show up that day, okay, at home. He will probably leave and go from one place to the next. By the time he gets home, he's done. So start by saying, when you have a minute, I would like an opportunity to listen to your opinion on something. See, see how I slide it in. Hey, Jacob, when you have a minute, I would like to listen to your opinion on something. And then you guys can quickly just set a time and place when you have a minute. Or he will tell you, oh, you know what? I'll get back to you. Generally, doesn't take Jacob too long to get back to me and say, hey, you wanted to hear my opinion on something? What is that? Okay.
Yeah, because obviously when Dillis tells me she wants to hear my opinion about something, my head starts swelling, right? Because like, oh my God, she recognizes that I'm a very smart guy and she needs to know what my opinion is on this
Yeah,
little
right.
idea of hers. Not realizing that it's a huge trap that they're setting. They're just throwing a consider once you come to the door, they'll slam the door and you're already inside as a chicken.
No,
Yeah.
this is not a chicken and a slam the door issue. This is a matter of just getting someone to the table. And when he's at the table, step two, define the problem. You guys don't go around, don't go dig off things from the grave. Don't start talking about problem that happened 2 years ago. Just stick to what it is now. Is the problem the fact that he's not taking out the trash? Or is it the fact that she's not cooking your favorite meal? Just stick to that problem. Don't go digging. Oh, and by the way, my mother-in-law said, your father-in-law said, it won't help.
Yeah, and so you they start a lot of people already start asking about those first two steps. So every time we have a little disagreement, we're gonna set a time and then go through the 10 steps. Oh no, 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 no. Okay. Every day you're gonna annoy each other and disagree about a million and one things. But we're talking about the big stuff. The things that you go beyond just quarrel and argue and it's you're fighting over it and you're trying not to talk to each other. If you guys get things get very tense, you need to set a time and place to have a very little conversation. And remember that even when you're going through the step same process, other things are coming up, so you will need to compartmentalize. That's why the list says that in step two, you want to be specific. Don't be all over the place. Don't agree that you want to talk about X, but then when you sit down, you start bringing P, Q, R, X, T. Just talk about the X and then move on. And so in step three, if you've already agreed on a place, you've defined and agreed on what the problem it is that you guys want to solve, you have to each make a list of how you individually contributed towards creating that problem. Okay. So this is the time that calls for self-examination and being honest with each other because it's rare that you have a problem in a relationship that's caused by one person. The origin could have been one person, but over time, you contribute in making it big. That's why I ended up getting that big, or what some people call boomerang.
So that's
Step,
your step five.
no, step four, the list.
Yeah,
So you
but
just listed the problems in
you
step
listed the
four, and
problem.
then
So let's go to step five because if we don't hurry up, we're not gonna get this to in one
okay.
hour.
Yeah, I was just
All
trying to
right.
mention the fact that if when you have listed the problems, you probably also want to talk about prior attempts that each of you might have made in resolving the problem.
And that's step five. Brainstorm 10 possible solutions. That step five now talks about brainstorming 10 possible solutions that you can put, you can use in solving this problem. So you've listed it and you've talked about the prior attempts, and then now you're in step five where you're coming up with 10 possible solutions towards the problem.
Yeah, and at this point, don't use this as an opportunity to judge or criticize. Just stick to being objective. You guys are just truly trying to contribute towards coming up with possible solutions. And then 10 is a good number. You could probably, if you can come up more than 10 options, that's not a problem. But when it's too few, then if the problem is that you're limiting yourself, and if those solutions don't work out, then you are in a bind. So you want to come up with 10 solutions. And step six will really be then evaluating each of those 10 solutions and seeing which one you think that will be the best to settle on, which will be step seven, where in step seven you say, okay, yeah, let's work on this one.
Yeah, and in step six, be as objective as possible. Talk about how useful and appropriate each suggestion is, right? And try not to judge, try not to criticize. Just talk about it from the way we thought last time about being assertive, where you're using your I sentences and not your you. So try not to judge, but just be honest about what you think about them. Discuss and evaluate each of these possible solutions in step six. And then step seven, agree on one of the solutions to try. Just take one and try. And if it doesn't work, you can go to the next one, but pick the one that makes the best, that seems to be the best for you.
Yeah, because on step six, you guys were trying to evaluate those solutions, but think yeah, trying to agree between the two of you what you think is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. It wasn't really an elimination, and it wasn't an opportunity to quarrel. So when people settle on that one, you know that the other options are still there. You've already done the pros and cons of the options, so you can always circle back to them. So on step seven, when you agree on that, and then obviously you have to assign task. If you agree that this is what we should work on, then you guys also have to agree on what each person's contribution is going to be towards achieving that goal. And you
And
need to
that's
be
a step
specific
eight.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our step eight. So when you decide in step seven what to work on, step eight, you each take what your responsibility would be towards that solution that you've come to. And then step nine is pretty simple. Is the evaluation process. Anybody that has worked in this country knows that, or worked anywhere, at work, they put a solution together, they come back, they evaluate it. Did it work? Did it not work? Same thing you want to do here. Pick a time, pick a date, pick a place to come back and reevaluate and find out, did as step seven work? Did the solution we picked towards this work? Are all of us doing our piece towards contributing to this? If it was about throwing out the trash, maybe the trash can was not there, right? Well, maybe your responsibility was buying a trash can, and the other person's responsibility was just setting a timer to take out the trash can. Either one, come back and evaluate. And Jacob, do you want to take tip 10?
Yeah, so just a quick reminder that so step nine is more about accountability, guys. As you can see, if you agree on doing anything, just like with your children, if you don't make yourself accountable, then you've just wasted your time, which is what Delis was alluding to with work. You always have the performance evaluation process, right, where they do it quarterly or twice a year, and that will determine exactly how much of a bonus you get if the company is doing very well, right? Which takes us exactly to step 10. If you guys have gone through this and by the end of step nine and you check accountability and you're all doing great, then reward each other. If you
Yeah.
notice your partner was making positive contribution towards the solution, praise him or her. Take the opportunity of this problem and the solution you guys have come with as a reason to do what? To go out on a date, go to the movies, go out for dinner, take your spouse on the trip. Reward yourselves to the point where you might actually be looking forward to the next problem that you guys have to solve.
Well, don't tempt me, Jacob. But well, Jacob and I know that these steps we've given you, we're all human beings, right? On one of those steps, things might go awry. People might not be listening actively, or they might not be assertive in the way they are setting the problem, and tempers might fly and all that. And that is what we want to talk about. The next thing you need to keep in mind: it is okay to need a timeout for a problem. It's okay. A lot of us, the issue is sometimes when we take time out, we don't come back after the timeout to continue to talk about this. But it's okay to need a timeout. If you find that your tempers are just rising and things are not going too well in that conversation, ask for a timeout, right? We
So
talked
so
about how
so yeah.
the timeout helps you to cool down. It helps you to identify your feelings and your needs, that you can come back and truly assertively articulate them. And it helps you to begin to think about productive ways that you can approach the issue again. So, how do you identify that you need a timeout, Jacob?
Yeah, so circling back again, as you'll be asking yourself, how do I set up a time to come and do the 10-step
Jacob,
process, right?
you keep going back. We need to go forward.
Yeah, no, I like to drive things
No,
home
no,
on
no,
point.
no, no. We can't do this. This is us
Right.
having a conflict right now, guys. He
I
needs to
know.
go forward.
on,
All
on,
right.
on, on live TV, we're having a conflict. So before you even do your 10 step, it's probably arising from that moment where you feel like you need a timeout, right? But you don't just walk away and slam the door. You have to actually articulate that. But how do you know that you need a timeout? When you start talking and you notice that either you or your spouse they're clenching their fists, you don't want to be on the wrong side of a clenched fist, do you? Then that's a good time to start for timeout. If you're talking and then your face or that of your partner is red, think about us, brown skinned people. If somebody's face is red, imagine what would have happened for their face to actually be showing as red. In such a moment, it's obvious that
Well,
you need time
I
out.
think I think for us, the dark skinned people, when our face looks
It get
darker,
darker.
right?
So that might be it.
When my face looks darker, it's not the time to continue that conversation. Yeah.
Yes, I think when they talk about the red face now is when you actually have been hit already, and then you have a red eye. Anyhow, if you start breathing fast, you will know that. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't want to continue bring this. I don't want to have heart attack. Okay, if you start tearing and you're more emotional and you're crying in the middle of a conversation, you probably need a timeout. Do you feel like screaming or throwing something, or are you afraid of your partner's intensity? Do you feel emotionally close up? The worst one is really feeling afraid of your partner's intensity. Then you obviously need a timeout.
Okay, so you have identified all these things that one of or all of these things that Jacob just
A
said, or
combination
some.
of them. Yeah.
What do you do? You ask for your timeout. Don't turn around to your partner and say, you need a timeout. No, that does not work. You step up, you say, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm getting too emotional. I need a timeout. I need some time to cool down and collect my thoughts. Would it be okay if we come back to this later? Please, you ask a timeout. Don't tell your partner they need one. And always ask one before you go. Majority of the time, what we do is walk out and slam the door. Never ever a good idea. It leaves your partner wondering what's going on. It only escalates the situation. So don't slam the door, don't walk out, articulate what's happening. I need a timeout. We're going to come back to this in an hour or in 2 weeks or in 4 weeks, or I'll get back to you when we can continue this conversation. I need a timeout. I need to walk away. And then you walk away. Don't just walk away and slam the door. Next one, Jacob. When you get a timeout, try to calm down and relax. Some ways to calm down.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious way to calm yourself down if you're a Christian is to pray, right? For the people of the Eastern Rise, they will say you meditate. Do something else. Take deep breaths. Go for a jog or a walk. Maybe take a bath. Some people they enjoy a very nice warm bath. That's an opportunity to use that bathtub in the house that you were excited when you guys were buying the house because you had a bathtub, but you've never ever sat in the bathtub. Okay, that's an opportunity to just feel the thing and with warm water and just sit in there for like 2 hours. Okay,
Yeah.
and then but if you're somebody that likes to write like myself, actually it's more of the list that writes on me. Write on your journal, or read something.
Yeah, or if you have somebody that likes to talk, before you pick up the phone and call that cousin or that auntie or that mother or father that is just going to make it worse, take your journal and write. Don't pick up the phone and call the next person because it's just going to make it worse. Just talk to yourself by writing in your journal.
Yeah, and the time of trying to calm down is then an opportunity for you to go through your thoughts. So the list what we were trying to identify during that time.
So the most important thing is, what were you trying to communicate? You can sit back now and really think about, what was I trying to communicate? Phrase it in I statements, right? And avoid the use statements. Try to spend some quiet time just considering your own partner's point of view. Maybe they had a totally different point of view, right? And you were not hearing it, but think about it. And on top of that, when you take a time out, this is the time when we need to talk about the next thing: forgive, right? Because a lot of people think it's after we have solved the problem that I'm going to forgive. No, forgiveness needs to come before. Forgiveness is just one of those things that we need to be mindful about, right? Forgiveness is a decision and a choice. It's your choice that you're choosing to give up the right for vengeance, retribution, negative thoughts towards your partner. And it is at this time that you take time out, that you can really truly think about it and come to that essence that I am going to let go and forgive before you come back to the table. Because when you don't forgive, you're never going to come back to the table. Right, Jacob?
Yeah, and Dilly's just touched on forgiveness, and I think it's very important for us to underline what forgiveness is not, because people have all these weird thinkings about forgiveness. Forgiveness, people, is not forgetting. Okay, it is not condoning or perpetuating injustice. That's not what forgiveness is.
Yeah.
And since it is sometimes unsafe or impossible, forgiveness does not always involve reconciliation. Okay, reconciliation is a much longer, drawn out process. Forgiveness is not always quick. Okay, as I mentioned, don't rush your partner in forgiveness. Go, I don't tell you, I'll be sorry. I've been telling you the whole time, I'm sorry. What's so hard? You cannot forgive me? No, no, please. In as much as you acknowledge the errors you have made, so too does your partner need some time to arrive at forgiveness. And they can actually tell that they have forgiven you. Don't think that because they're forgiving you, as I pointed out, then they're forgotten or you guys are reconciled. Because reconciliation, why forgiveness needs only one person, your partner, to make up their mind. Reconciliation actually needs the two of you.
Yeah. So 6 steps. We had 6 steps last time to granting forgiveness, right? Acknowledging your pain, right? Acknowledging that you were hurt and you've been disrespected. Just Yes, acknowledge it that yes, it was. And then be specific about your future expectations. A lot of the time we acknowledge it and we wallow in it. We don't let it go, and we don't think about, okay, how am I going to say, Jacob, that comment you made was really hurtful. I forgive you for it, but next time, please don't do it this way. Or next time, don't say it the way you said it. Think about it. What are your expectations and limitations? That way, you can actually articulate it, guys. Give up your right to get even, but insist on being treated correctly in the future, right? Let go of the blaming, the resentment, the negative thoughts towards your partner. It's not going to help you. It's only going to keep you down, right? And communicate the act of forgiveness. Yes, people, open your mouth and say, you did this. I've forgiven you, but let's move on. Because when you don't communicate it, the other person doesn't know, right? The other person doesn't know. And when it is safe, work towards reconciliation. Like Jacob said, sometimes it's not always possible, because it takes two to reconcile. You might forgive your partner and they're not yet there to reconcile with you, but
Absolutely.
you just have to work towards it.
So I think with that, we have more or less crunched and squeezed in less than 20 minutes the podcast from Monday.
Mhm.
And we're going to go through a couple of questions before we bring our guest couple that some people are waiting to hear from with bating breath.
Yes.
Uh, so, Delise, you want to take the first question that we have?
So we
And,
do.
and, and our guest couple might actually end up circling back to answer some of these questions if
I
we
know,
screw up the answers.
I know, I know. All right, so we have one that says, my partner and I have a great relationship, but there's one thing that keeps causing tension every month. It seems like we're arguing about how we're spending our money. This person seems to be echoing me. Even though we're not really struggling financially, it feels like there is something deeper at play here, that we are not addressing. How can we get to the root of this ongoing issue and resolve it for good? So this is dealing with recurrent conflict issues. Again, like we were saying, this you have your 10 steps. It's really great because you're already identifying that this is a recurrent issue that's coming up. So there's something else in there. So use the 10 steps we just gave you. Find some time to talk about it. Don't wait until the end of the month, right? Because this always comes around the end of the month when paycheck is driving thin, and
Well, the
yes,
last
there's
time I
money.
checked, the paycheck in the US does not come at the end of the month. It comes
Yeah,
every 2 weeks.
yeah, but the end of the month, the bills are paid and
Okay.
everything is done, and you're waiting for the next paycheck to come. So,
Right.
but spend some time before this happens, because when you wait and it happens, you cannot truly really go to the deeper concept. And we're going to be talking about finances in the next episode. So you definitely do want to tune in and listen to what we have to say about finances. But I'll give you a teaser. Everybody relates to finances a little different. There are four ways we do relate to finances. So come on, listen to that and try. I cannot go into in depth and try to figure out how you and your partner can talk about this. But it will be very important to try to talk about it before it is an issue, right? Spend some time during the month, in the middle of the month, take him out, set up a time, sit there. I'm assuming this is a woman, it might be a man, and set up a time and just
Okay.
talk,
I think
talk.
it's a woman.
All right, all right,
Eh,
Jacob.
eh, so when I read when I get questions, I tend to tease them apart, and each sentence for me I think means something, and it looks like to me what jumps at me is the last part of that question where the person goes like, it feels like there's something deeper at play here that we are not addressing. You think they're arguing about money, but the person is suspecting something underneath, which I think that's where step four of conflict resolution really comes into play, where step four forces the two of you to come up with multiple solutions and not just one. In
Mhm.
fact, it wants you to come up with at least 10 solutions. In the process of talking to coming up with solutions, I suspect the person that asks the question is going to finally go like, aha, they're going to learn on what really is underneath. Because
Underneath,
a lot of
yeah.
times we human beings, our needs are the things that we need for survival, and they tend to make the things that we're vulnerable about. We hate just going straight to it. So a lot of time people are communicating their wants, but if you have to listen keenly before you realize that they need to find out what the need is, or make them feel relaxed enough to be vulnerable around you, then they're going to communicate that need. So it looks like the person that's in this question is hearing finances, but they are suspecting something else underneath.
Yes.
Frequently that's happening. And step four, in the process of going through those 10 things, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna get your eureka moment in the
Yeah.
process of doing that.
So Jacob, I need you to take the next question. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Since last week, we had a heated argument about priorities and time management since we both work full time and have two young kids. It ended with us not speaking to each other for the rest of the night. It's uncomfortable and we hate this Cold War phase after our fight. What are the best ways to break the ice and start a healing conversation without risking another conflict?
Okay. So now that I have the one to answer, I have to go now to the last but one sentence in that question. It says, "It ended with us not speaking to each other for the rest of the night." Okay, and it might even go beyond that. So that's what you want to go into the heart of. And sometimes it's pride that's getting in the way. It's our fears and our desires that are heightening, and you need to let down your guard. So you that's really interested in solving that conflict, you have to go and use Delice's question approach. Give the other person a blooded head. Tell them that you really need their opinion on something.
Well, I think this is past that now. This is
Yeah.
a situation where they've quarreled, right? So I
Yeah.
think
So
they're
so
almost
if
at the
somebody's asking
point
your
where
opinion on something, you don't think that they want to get back to that quarrel. You think that in spite of all of that quarrel, this person still thinks that your opinion really matters, and they want to ask your opinion on something that they're working
Uh,
on.
well, I think that you hit it on the head.
Yeah.
This is about pride,
Yeah.
right? It's about letting down your guard and going back to this person and saying, "Hey, we had a problem, and yes, let's agree to disagree and keep going," right? And it's coming down to that forgiving and asking the assignment we did, Jacob, about apologizing,
Right.
right? Because sometimes it's apologizing for the perceived slight. You might not think you're wrong, but your partner might have articulated where you were wrong. Apologizing, I am telling you, we have some of those awkward moments sometimes where I'm waiting for Jacob to just say, I am sorry. Like, seriously, guys, my apology language is very easy. I am sorry. Move on. But it takes him so long to figure that one out. So sometimes it's just coming back to the person and saying, hey, I'm sorry for what we did, for what led to this, and then moving past it. Holding on to that I'm sorry at the tip of your tongue and waiting for them to say it doesn't help. Know yourself. I know myself. I can I am a quality time person, so I can't go more than 2 minutes without talking to him. So I just know myself. If I have to initiate the conversation, I'll initiate the conversation. But some people can go decades without talking. Start by saying I'm sorry. Start by apologizing and go from there. Don't let the like the Bible says, don't let the night fall on your anger, right? Okay.
Yeah. So thanks,
I
the
think
list adding that perspective.
yeah.
Should we take two more questions before bringing our?
No, I think we should bring
Maybe we'll
in
leave
our
some
guests
questions. Let's
and
leave
then we
some
can,
questions for them
yeah,
to answer.
and then we can share some of the questions with them. I'm sure they will be they'll have an approach that we've not thought about. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and
Drum
bring in
roll.
drum roll, Mr.
Okay.
and Mrs. Angie to the stage.
Uh,
Welcome, guys. Can we hear
Hello.
you all?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
We
okay.
sure can.
Uh,
Oh,
so,
welcome,
so, so,
welcome.
so when I see Blaze, there's one phrase that stands out in my head every time I see him, and that I see his wife is just smiling at him. So, so every DJ has like a signature tune,
Yeah.
and then, so he goes like, yeah, this is DJ Blaze. your girlfriend's best DJ.
Yeah, yeah.
About
Right.
that.
Yes, yes, I've heard that. I've heard
Do
that
you really
about.
want your girlfriend to be telling you that they really like a certain DJ?
Okay, wait, Jacob. Don't jump ahead of us. Let's introduce them.
Let's
Okay.
have them introduce
Let's
themselves.
do this introduction really good and have them introduce yourself. But first off, you guys meet the hottest and newest. I say newest, but the hottest DJ in town and the hottest wife of
Makeup
the DJ
artist,
in town, makeup artist extraordinaire,
Imagine that.
Miss Bibi
two
Minaj.
entrepreneurs.
And her, what did she say? My lord. The last time she addressed him, she was like, "Yeah, my lord," and her lordship,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Just like
My
it.
king, her king, her lordship. DJ, please. Okay, welcome, guys. Welcome,
We
and
appreciate it.
nice to have you all.
Thank you for sure.
Thank you guys so much for having us. We've learned so much just sitting here.
Oh, good. Thank you guys for coming. All right, so introduce yourself to us. Name, where you guys stay, how many kids you have. That's just it. Nothing too heavy.
If you like, you can get into how you met each other if you want to.
Oh, I'm gonna ask that question.
Okay. Go
Let
ahead.
them just
Hey,
introduce
Yeah.
my name is Bibi Minaj,
Mm.
and you are.
DJ Plus.
I'm DJ Blast, but you can call me Maxwell Ange. Well,
And we live in Bowie, Maryland.
yeah.
We have 2 kids.
Two girls.
3
How long have
girls.
you guys been married?
2 years plus 2 years a month.
2 years
Yeah.
plus.
It doesn't look like 2
Wow.
years. Sounds more like 2 weeks. You guys look more like you just started dating. You sound.
You know, whenever I follow you guys up on status, I'm like, wow, this man is all about his wife. That's awesome. I love to see the love between you guys, the way you take care of each other. I think the last time I was watching you guys on Saturdays, you were on a date or something. He actually opened the door for you. I was like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah,
Well, okay.
7
So
years
tell
apart from each other. So yeah, we've tried so far.
And the people are already pumping questions in the chat. They just can't wait to hear the two of you. They're already asking why it seems so hard for us to say sorry.
us.
Anyhow, but let's continue. Go ahead,
All
DJ
right. I think that one is for me because I said you did not say you don't say I'm sorry. All right. So let's hear a little bit about you two. How did you guys meet?
Well, I used to live in Minnesota since 2013 when I came. Then 2014, I mean, I had on my Facebook, right?
Mhm.
Then I was just,
Facebook.
yeah, when Facebook was before WhatsApp and all of these things.
Yeah.
But at that time, when I always look at pictures. I'm like, this guy is very fine, you know. So I was just going. So after some time, I was in a relationship, but when everything ended over there, I was just on my now Snapchat came 20,
Ah.
2015, 2016, early that time. So she was like, add me on Snapchat. So I added her. After some months, I would just comment on her stuff. She would always like to laugh, you know. So when you see that the foul like corn, you gotta give more corn.
So you kept making the foul laugh.
Yeah, always trying. So when I go to work, I come back. I don't really have anybody to talk to. I'll go look her up on Snap, you know, just try to see if she has time. We can talk. So it was more of that long distance. Then I had the opportunity to come here for an event. Then we had
You
that
guys
time
met up.
together, yeah. And it was just a whole different chemistry. I was like, oh God, hopefully this is the direction.
So,
And
Bibi, I'll ask you, how did you know he was the one?
When he first wrote me on Facebook, he was definitely not the one. That's when I clicked.
is that I left Facebook, I had to go to
So when I
Snapchat.
click on his, because he wrote me on Facebook, I click on his profile. It was some black guy. I said, no way. I said, Why I wrote him? But then on Snapchat, people will write you cannot see them, right? You just see the name. So he was very funny. I didn't even know who I was talking to at the time. Until
Oh.
one day when I asked him to send me a picture of him because it was very funny and interesting. He sent again another black picture of himself. I don't know what phone he was using. I ignored him.
Oh my goodness.
So, but he was very funny. So I said to myself that I would try to be friends with him.
Oh
But just
wow.
him, he was just a whole different person that I've never met. And we just talk until when he came here. I went to see him. I went with a friend. So we got there. I met him. It was just like I've known him all my life. It was just I didn't even have to feel like a different, like, you know how you meet people, you have to talk different, act different,
Yeah. Yeah.
truly stuff. So I just knew he was the one. So I told my friend that she can start going. That I'll meet her after that. So
Oh
yeah,
my God.
he's
So
just
you ditched the friend at that moment.
yeah, yeah.
This must have been a really good friend to have understood. Well, that's good. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for sharing. It's always nice to just see how people meet and people just fall in love and people start from just random spaces, but you see that God was intentional about bringing you two together as you continue to build this relationship. So, a couple of questions that I have. First off, one of the things that really attracted me to you to come on, and I reached out and people, I had to beg Miss BB to come on. Like I had to really like grovel or like please, please, please. But one of the things that really attracted me to bring you two on is because recently I encountered you two on a business level, right? Blaze was there, to DJ, Maxwell was there to DJ, and you were there to do makeup for me. But you guys still kept, like, even though there were so many things going on, you guys still just kept your cool and you were always communicating. And I'm thinking, oh wow, how do you manage this with running businesses? And for Jacob and I, there's always some argument going on that we need to solve. Like, how do you guys navigate that with conflicts that come on?
We fight a lot only based on the fact that
No, no, strike that from the record. They don't fight a lot. They just
well,
yes.
a lot just because I don't, like, you see how I'm sitting close to him. That's how I want to be 24 hours a day.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
what we mean that I can't do that at nighttime because he has to go work somewhere. So we fight about that because it's like as soon as they leave there, I'm already counting how many minutes until he gets home.
Uh,
So we only argue because I don't want to be separated from him. So the
oh.
things that he does is just, my only problem is just leaving his side. Other than that, everything else is just good with it.
So now the whole world knows her problem.
the
So you see now that's like
question is, do you know her problem?
Do you know her
Do
problem?
you know that that's the problem?
I'm actually just discovering that big part. Oh, there's times I had to like really cease myself out of the house or like cease, but I see that I just learned one new problem today. We're gonna have a
Well, so you need to come up with a solution for it. But you still handle it really well, right? He still has to go out and you still have to understand it. So you kind of talk through it. A lot of the times, I'm sure. Even though he has never understood that that was you pointing out that, look, we have to talk through this,
uh,
right?
Something happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
something happened. Yeah, actually the thing is we normally I've been with her for 7 years plus. So I kinda like know a lot of how to manage problems. So I made a lot of adjustments with the different hustle because I DJ and sometimes DJ used to start Thursdays to Fridays, so
Hmm.
Sunday. So when we got married, well, Mr. I want to get married, Mrs. I want to get married to a DJ, decide that, oh no, this DJ is taking too much time. So that was like one of the major problems that hit my business part of me. I'm like, so you like this DJ, but now you want the DJ to stop. So how do we? So we have
Yeah,
to like walk around so many stuff. I had
yeah.
to cut off some days from the club and decide to actually cut off going to DJ in the club like just like 2 months ago. So I
Oh
took on
wow.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that what you talked about what somebody likes before you
Yeah.
get married, and then when you get married, that can become a source of a problem, and it actually gets into the different personality styles. We
Mhm.
tend to fall back in love with that opposite. That thing
Yeah.
that you don't have, that's what you want. But it's like, oh, the guy is so organized. That's what the list told me in the early days when we're dating. But
Yeah.
but now she sees that as me being very controlling suddenly, right?
It is a controlling thing, guys. Now, I'll just say, I'll just say, because like in the early days, right? I'll share with you guys this one story. I remember when I visited him right at the beginning, and he woke me up from bed like at 6 a.m. because he had booked to go do his laundry, right? And
Mhm.
back then it was like, oh, this is cute. The guy is doing laundry. But who wakes you up from bed at 6 a.m. to take the bed sheet to go do laundry?
Oh no.
But that still continues though. That absolutely still continues in life
Because that's
now.
your personality. That's how the person's brain is wired. So you have to recognize that.
So
Excuse me, get up. I gotta take the shit.
yes, I gotta go take
No.
the shit. And that's just it. But you know, you compromise, and I like the fact that Maxwell was just talking about how he has compromised over this time, and it's something that we all have to do, because when we get into it, I have my own priorities, you have your own priorities. Our priorities now have to become our priorities. They're no longer mine and yours, right? So I am very appreciative. Like you've hit a new high when you talk about how you compromise on this one. And marriage is a bunch of compromises that are made every day for every single decision, right?
At the time that I was telling him that he needed to stop DJing in general, because at that point I was because every time I was like, you just have to stop the whole DJ stuff. I don't even want to hear it. Because at the time we were having challenges in our marriage, and it was just
Right.
because the baby was taking a long time to come. And my
Mhm.
mother-in-law, she doesn't have any grandbabies, and she was putting pressure on me.
Oh wow.
I needed him to be there every day. Like, I don't want you to be at the club, because he goes to the club. It takes me 2 days before I can get back with him being cool, because I'm mad.
Yes.
After 2 days, I hear
DJ Blast just cannot believe that this is happening in front of the world.
but and DJ's Friday, no, at the time it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Sunday.
and Sunday. And Sunday will have to be in church no matter what. So sometimes he's in church and he's dozing off, and I'll be kicking him because he was
But the
taking
man is not dozing off. He's praying. He's in a very
No,
contemplative
he's
mood.
dozing. He's dozing off. He's dozing
You
off
guys were
in church.
warned during the last retreat that don't assume that the man is
his
dozing off when the man is in deep prayer.
I'm seriously praying and he's sleeping. So do you really want this baby or not? So
I
I
know.
you can't even do the club thing. My mother
Yeah.
was into it, and she helped us with that though. But now he's the one that doesn't even want the club. I didn't even have to tell you to not do it. Sometimes you just have to give people time.
Yes.
Um,
And I think that's the other part that you just said. Thank you for saying that, because sometimes you have to give people time. It's not every conflict that is going to get solved at that moment. There
Yeah.
is there is the need for time. So you choose to still keep going and know that you have to agree to disagree on this one, and give people time, and eventually with time they would see that they have to come along, right? And this that was great. That was just a great strategy right there.
Yeah, it's a
so
big decision.
so
And you don't have to even go to the 10 steps of conflict resolution to get what you want. You can-
now, but I understand though that it's interesting, because you talk about your mother-in-law being there, and you're one of those lucky ones that has a very good mother-in-law. I can tell, because
so
you've
good.
you've talked about her like two or three times. You've mentioned her. So congratulations to you, Mama. If you're listening to this, you're on
you got it
point.
pat down.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but having to deal with that, right? How do you guys work through having mother-in-law, father-in-law, baby, DJ, husband, all of that in terms of conflict? What when there's a conflict and mom is there, dad is there, and the children and the kids are there? Like, how do you walk through those ones?
So the great thing about our marriage is that the mothers are on the other partner's side. So whatever the issue is, just know that my mother-in-law got me. So me and her are going to fight here. Just how him and my mother going to fight. So it's the switch. So it's always
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, we still
Yeah,
change the
it's
lawyers.
easier.
Yeah. Oh wow. That just reminded me of me. I call my mother his mother. She stays with her husband. She
Yeah.
always sticks up for
She
him.
she
Like
she
she.
got she got my back.
Yes.
Sometimes the mother that will solve, come and hold some of my quarrels while I stay back.
Yeah, it's so much easier
Yeah.
that way. Because if your mother is always on your side, you're going to join her in fighting your husband, and after that, the relationship between both of them is not going to work out very well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, the switch is always just the great part.
Wow. I do want to meet these two mothers. They sound incredible, and I want to thank them for doing this, for continuing to just support you too as we live this marriage life,
Yeah.
right? So
Questions for them now?
I think that I wanted to go back to one of the questions. So there's one of the questions that was submitted that I want to go back to. And I think you guys can help with this one. It says, we recently had a big fight about a sensitive
Sensitive topic.
topic.
Yeah.
My partner's relationship with their ex led,
It
okay,
led to questions about trust and loyalty. And
Mhm.
even though we've moved past the argument itself, there's still some lingering doubt and hurt on both sides. So the question really is, what steps can we take to truly move past this and rebuild the trust that seems to have been shaken? Again, we're talking about an ex.
Mhm.
So we are talking about an ex that is in constant communication with their current husband.
Yeah, I can read it again.
yeah.
They didn't say it's a husband, they just say partner. Come on.
No, me and Bibi want to make
You
this
guys are
known
making
that this is about
presumptions
a
here.
husband.
Yeah, it might be about a wife. It just says we recently had a big fight about a sensitive topic. My partner, yeah, this is my husband or wife. My partner's relationship with their ex. Because there are some women because they're just very nice. They still keep in touch with their ex because they think that, oh yeah, he needs help with his
One thing got me.
No,
student
women
loan that I
don't do that.
co-signed. Yeah.
Women don't do that. It's men that do that.
Anyway, it says
Okay.
it led to questions about trust and loyalty. And even though we've moved past the argument itself, there's still some lingering doubt and hurt on both sides. So the question again is, what steps can we take to truly move past this and rebuild the trust that seems to have been shaken?
So at this point, I'm thinking that they did not just talk. I think that they actually did something, because why are you guys still holding on to that conversation if it was just a hi or a hey conversation?
Exactly.
So, but why is this person keeping in touch with their ex? Do they have a child together? Do they have a business they're running together? Because they're not supposed to even be in communication if they don't have any of those.
Thank
Mhm.
you, ma'am.
So
Thank you.
they have.
And a match seems to be agreeing with saying that men are fond of that. I don't believe that. That question did not say anything about men.
Well, sometimes it's, I don't really have any ex that I'm talking to.
My husband means that you're not
So
supposed to say hi to
the
your
problem
ex.
is
So
when
any
it's actually done with friendship or any relationship with ex, the communication dies right there. So I don't see anything we're supposed to be talking about unless there's
Yeah.
something that kept us together, that kept that tie. Maybe a baby
The
came
baby,
through,
right? Yeah.
and the communication should be more about the baby than your. If I see if the communication is not focusing on how to grow the baby you guys created, then there's supposed to be no communication at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on point with
So, but
that.
how do you
But
guys get
but,
past
but
that? Yeah.
I think this person is asking, and I
the
see
person,
Solange saying to have
the
a
person
close
needs to.
relationship. Just let me read Solange's comment. To have a close relationship with your ex is a no for me. Many exes have destroyed so many marriages. Yes,
Yeah.
Solange, that is true. And I think this person is asking, how do I rebuild this? Right? Let's just take for example that she has forgiven whatever happened. They've forgiven. They've forgotten. It's not. They're
You
not
don't
gonna
forget, you
forget.
just
Yeah,
forgive.
but they've
That's why you have a
forgiven and
memory.
they want to let go and go on. Right? But I think that at this point, when you start talking about trust, right, it's truly deep down. a decision that you're going to make to do this, to trust. There are two things. The other person, right? The person that has the question mark on trust has to be open to allowing you open access into anything that you had questions on. I
About it.
think that that's one of the things. Like, don't be closing your cell phone when you see me coming and putting it aside. That it will not build trust,
Don't have
right?
a password on your cell phone that I cannot access, even if there was an emergency.
Exactly.
And
That,
or having this special email address that you're only using to communicate with people like this X. I should be
exactly.
able to
So
access
all
your
of those
email.
things,
Yeah.
yeah, give access to all of those things if you are the one that's trying to build trust. But if you're the one that is working on it and trying to forgive, get past it, and give your trust again, there are things that at the end of the day, I think I want to send you first to prayer, because let me tell you, the devil and the way it works, the schemes he can cook up from little things you cannot even imagine. It might just be that ex texting on
Mhm.
an ordinary day that your husband has absolutely no idea of what the ex is up to. And the devil can take that and just twist it in your mind into something totally different once as you don't have that trust. So finding that peace within you, finding a way to pray a peace within you that can handle these things and handle these schemes, and listen first. Don't judge. Don't jump to extremes. Just listen first and really take every input. Take everything they're telling you in first before you start judging, because sometimes it's truly just a misguided scheme of the devil that you're reacting to, and it can keep breaking and breaking down. And I have to go back to that thing of Jacob talking about a password, because I think just recently I heard a story of a young lady who lost her husband and cannot get into the husband's phone for anything. Like, everything they had, passwords, any of those things, she cannot access. His contact, nothing, cannot access, because she had no way of accessing the phone, right? He didn't give her a password. And she had never had the password, and for the life of her, she never thought I would need the password, so it wasn't a big deal for her to even start making a hoopla about it. But think about it out there. You never know tomorrow what will happen. You're unconscious. Somebody doesn't know how to reach out to people that are on your phone, right? So your partner should always be the one that has that information about you. And I know that a lot of people hide it. If you're hiding it, there must be something you're trying to hide.
But it's interesting, DJ Blaze. Don't even worry. Give her the information. Interesting is that the list he calls me to ask for the password I've given her.
That's true.
They'll never remember. They only remember me when they want to investigate you.
When they want to never forget.
But when it's important
Wait,
for them to remember, they will call you
wait,
again and ask you for the
wait.
password.
Yes, it is true. It is true. I still call and ask for the password, but at least to access your phone,
No, but you
right?
know what I mean, Blaze? Because given the
Yeah.
fact that they're gonna call and ask you, it gives you enough time to be able to quickly do what you gotta do, right? And then change the password. No, please, no, don't do that. Don't update anything and then send a
Oh,
new
yeah.
password.
I beg him
Because,
No.
out.
because nowadays they can look at history. You cannot have an email box that the latest email is January of 2022. what what happened to all those emails the last 14 months?
Well, there's a delete button for that reason,
Why are you
but
deleting your emails?
but
Delete
I
that.
think that that's just one of the things about this trust question is it goes deeper. I mean, it's a whole conversation on a whole other day. But the phone thing, when I heard that story, I really felt for the young girl, because I'm thinking, how are you
Yeah,
gonna get
yeah.
in? How are you gonna get into this phone to get all this life important information that you need, and your husband is no longer here to continue to support you, right?
Yeah,
And
and I think to the comment that Liz was saying that sometimes the devil works can be very mischievous. This girl sends you a text message that you were not thinking about, and then then your husband, your wife sees it and then blows it out of proportion. What gets to the heart of the comment that Solange is saying, that sometimes it's better for you to let your partner know if you have a mischievous ex before he or she spoils things for you. Especially the ex that you have a child with, for the men. They are not very happy that you're happy. And so the things that they're doing is not because they have something going with you. They're just trying to mess up with the head of your wife.
Yeah.
And if you already tell your wife that know that this girl out there is crazy, then you guys are on the same pitch. You're a team, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For
All
me,
right. So we're almost down to like
No,
the last one
I
minute
think
before
Vivi
our
Minaj
couple.
wanted to
Yeah.
say something.
Yeah. I
also,
Right
was
there.
going to give her the chance
was
to talk.
asking the question earlier about how they can get past the misunderstanding, the ex conversation is just because they have not gotten to the real reason why the person was first of all communicating.
Exactly.
So we should
Yeah.
talk about that some more because I'm thinking that they're not getting past that because the person is not satisfied with the explanation that the other partner
Something
gave.
must have gone wrong
Exactly.
before.
Yeah. There's more to it. Let them get to the bottom of why they were first of all in communication again. So they
Yeah.
can fix that.
Good. All right, guys. We're almost 5 minutes to the closing time, but I'm going to give you two, just one last word. Any advice on conflict you want to throw out for people to remember? Let me start with Miss BB first, and then I'll go to to DJ Blaze.
DJ, please.
Conflict.
Look at me. Yeah, they
I
say
do.
conflict. So how do you handle it? Any idea?
I think that for conflicts, you have to. For me, number one thing is I'm a very romantic person. If you guys are having issues, maybe you should just like take your partner out. You guys can sit down somewhere fresh and can go
Set a
over
time.
it. Like it's very important that you step out. I see couples that they go for a whole year, they don't go out on a date, but this person will go this way, this other person will go this way. I don't know how they do it. Going on dates will really give you a fresh start on everything.
Thank
Brilliant.
you. That's the first step, right? Set a time and place and sit down for it. Yeah.
Well, me, I'm always resolving conflict. So um, I sometimes just follow my guts to actually handle any conflict. Sometimes when something happens, I try to address it at the same time. Sometimes something can happen, I'll take 2 days to talk about it. But I'm fine. Even though my wife will pushing me, you gotta say something. It could be me between me and my wife, could be my wife between any of the siblings. So but I had to think about it and make sure what come out of my mouth is what's supposed to be heard by any normal person. You don't want to go fixing some conflicts while you are still in conflict. You have to
Yeah, absolutely.
out
Yeah.
of the conflict and then you are attacking the conflict from outside. So
Yes.
So in our marriage
mm,
conflicts, I when I'm mad, I say evil things. Like I can
yeah.
say really terrible things. So I've learned to be quiet when we are fighting. So I don't say anything that I will regret. Because when I say something mean and then he shut down, and then I'll have to apologize for the thing that I've said, even though he was the one that was initially wrong. So
You're not fighting for something over something else now.
that was it
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. So I've learned to be quiet. If I'm too upset about something, I will just not talk at all. So
Yeah.
I give myself a time to digest the problem, and then I can talk to him at the right time. So yeah, you
That's
have
like you
to.
avoiding not losing your case. You see now. You
So
avoiding
Or not messing up your own case. You had the open hand now, you just spoiled it, right?
Yes.
yeah,
But that's a good point that you made. Like a lot of us talk out of tune, right? We just that pain from within you makes you want to hurt the other person by just saying something that would be hurtful, and that doesn't help. That just it flips the script, and now you become the one that's apologizing instead of the other person that just caused you all
that's
this
true.
pain.
That
Yes.
is
Yeah, and this gets back to the first key concept of communication that we mentioned before. I noticed that Emma there was talking about communication, which is being assertive, and the other one active listening. And people always confuse assertiveness with just speaking your mind or getting something off your chest. No, 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 no. That's not assertiveness. Assertiveness requires you to be respectful and courteous
Yeah.
and making sure that you actually pass your message across in a way that the other person is listening. If you do something that's going to tune the other person off, you're not being assertive. And so if you think that you're not there, then you're right. Abiyu Minaj, you want to really take the time and do a self-examine and calm down instead of just cursing somebody out. Cursing somebody out is not being assertive. It's just getting something off your chest.
right.
Okay. All right. So we're going to let our couples go, but before I let them go, I can't help but say, guys, the DJ in town, your girlfriend's best DJ,
And the best makeup artist in
DJ
town.
Blast, and the best makeup artist in town. I'm telling you guys, she does your face and people can tell you have makeup on, but you look stunning
And,
and radiant.
and they come two for one because if you already have that event, you need a DJ. The makeup artist just tags along.
Right there with you.
You
And
cannot
oh,
beat
by
that.
the way, she's an extraordinary on hair too. This girl, she does it all.
Oh,
Miss
Thank
Bibi
you so
Minaj.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you guys so
So
much for
Thank you guys
coming.
for coming
thank you
on
guys.
such a very short notice.
Even you know me, I always pull up, but I was really happy because this is my lawyer. I wish Mama.
Yeah, yeah. Blaze said to me, Blaze
Whenever
said,
you guys talk about, I'm ready to pull up.
yeah. Blaze said to me, you know the Oga Kwata Kwata. Just contact her.
Okay, so
All
Jude
right.
Shamwa just asked if you guys are husband and wife because we're trying to advertise your business too much. But this is Mr. and Mrs. Ange that we introduced at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
sorry towards the end if you join us late, you might not have noticed that this is husband and wife. They might be acting like boyfriend girlfriend. It's just that we're trying to highlight what they do for a living. But they are actually
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Ange. This is Blaze and Bibi Minaj. Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank
you
much.
guys so much. So I will put you guys now in the back, and then I will we would just say a quick prayer. And Jacob, you want to take a quick prayer, and then I'll do the quick reminders, and we would close for the day.
So, a quick prayer. We're going to call the mother of our Lord Jesus Christ to come into our midst and close out for us. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary,
Holy
Mother of
Mary,
God,
Mother of God,
pray
pray
for
for
us
us
sinners,
sinners
now and
now
at the
and
hour
the
of our
hour of
death.
our death.
Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, there you have it. That's all we have for today on conflict resolution within your marriage. Now, stay tuned for Monday. We're going to be having a podcast come out on Monday around 8 o'clock on finances, managing finances in your marriage. And as always, we do need couples. We do need guest couples. So if you're out there and you have something to share with us, please reach out to Jacob and I, and we will be very happy to have you on stage. And oh, by the way, if I reach out to you, don't make me beg like I had to beg my esteemed guest today. Just say yes, please. All right. And if you have questions, our podcasts always go out with a Google link where you can submit questions, and we can take your questions live on Thursdays, just like we did today. And Jacob,
Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for staying up late to listen to us.
and
Thanks for your
have
comments and questions.
a wonderful day, guys. Bye.
Let's talk about love. Like you and me all night, and let's talk about love.